welcome to another episode of the fucking awesome game review show. I am Nick Silviano, and once again I am back to review a game that I meant to review a while back, but just haven't got around to until now. And today, that game, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than Dragon Age Inquisition. Let me get started here. For the PS4, PS3, Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PC. I believe that covered all those available systems on. If I forgot any, let me know. But I think I went through the whole thing there. I ended up with the PS3 version, so that is what I'm going to review. I'm going to be reviewing it as a whole, but I just ended up playing the PS3 version. Not that that matters, but that's just what I'm going by. The story starts off as your created hero wakes up in what appears to be the Fade. If you don't know what that is, you should probably play the first two games. Don't you think? After the character escapes, he or she wakes up and is confronted by Cassandra. Again, you should have played part 2. Never mind. I don't blame you if you skipped that one. After wondering if the main character was responsible for the explosion in the sky that caused a crap ton of monsters to fall to the land, Cassandra takes them to where the explosion occurred to find out. After taking out a giant monster, it's revealed that the Divine, Dragon Age's female pope, may have almost been saved by the main character before the explosion happened and shit went down. They also learned the main character has the ability to close the wrist with a magical mark on their hand. Armed with this possible knowledge, the group decides to reform the Inquisition, an age-old order dedicated to serving the Maker, Dragon Age's God, to set the world right. But not everyone is happy about that. Right there, I felt as if the story was kind of just taken from the first one. So, spoiler here, if you haven't played the first Dragon Age game, you play the character as a Grey Warden. You don't in this one, you're playing the first one. And you have to re-establish an army to bring together the various races of the world, establish an army to help fight the Archdemon and the coming Blight. Kind of some differences there in the story, but however, in this one you're doing the Inquisition, which is, more of the same thing, and you're gathering different races, different people to your cause. So it's kind of to me, it felt like a kind of rehash of the first story. But they still seem to go with the interesting direction in it, so it's just, you gotta bear with it here. It starts out slow and very familiar, but it goes its own way. You just gotta be patient with it. The gameplay is pretty similar to the previous Dragon Age game. You have a party up to 4 characters, which for the most part control with the AI, save for the character you are actually using. You can switch characters you're using on the fly with a D-pad, or whatever buttons you assign that to if you're playing the PC version. Each character has their own set of moves depending on what kind of class they are. You can also pick up their individual actions by pressing a certain button, which goes in the strategy type mode, where you can stop time and plan out all the characters' moves accordingly. It's actually, I kind of like how they did it in this one. You can put it in a top-over kind of perspective, like you would see in some other type of RPGs, top-down kind of thing. So you can go ahead and do that. I believe you could actually do that in the in the PC versions of Dragon Age 1 and 2. As far as I can tell, you couldn't do it in the console versions, which are the ones I played. So I don't. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. I know you can pick the characters individually and do stuff, but you couldn't do that top-down perspective in the console version. But you can do it in the console version of this game. So I thought that was pretty neat to actually put that on there. The controls, however, seem a little first-person inspired. However, at least on console versions. One of the shoulder buttons is your basic attack, while the rest are special attacks. It's not a bad thing to have shoulder buttons as an attack option, but in an RPG game, it just feels kind of weird. Yeah. Like I was saying, with the console version, like I said, I was playing the PS3 version, so R2 was the attack button, the basic attack button. What I meant by first-person controls is usually when you're playing first-person shooter games, if you're mostly playing on the default controls, usually the R button is your shooting button, R1 or R2 button is your shooting button or something like that, your triggers or whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, I know you can always change that, but it just seemed weird. I mean, you definitely do get used to it, but it's wow, that's kind of a weird way to go with controls. Because in the first Dragon Age, you had when your character's doing normal attacks, they're basically doing auto. They're just doing whatever, and we push the buttons for the special moves. And the second one, it was kind of like the X button. So you just keep an X button or whatever button you had assigned to it to do normal attacks. Again, talking about console versions, so don't shoot me if you're not playing console version. The maps seem more open as well. You can pretty much go anywhere and even off the beaten path if you try hard enough. You can climb hills, sort of, and even slide down them for shortcuts. Just be careful. Fall too much and too fast and you take damage. Definitely have more room to move around though. Feature that feels lifted right from Skyrim, however. Or the Elder Scrolls series as a whole, if you want to look at it that way. Yeah, I mean, basically, it is kind of neat that you can actually go around. They did honestly do a whole open world kind of thing. Like you can go just about anywhere. You can climb just about. Oh, okay, I wouldn't say climb just about everything, but you have a way more room to move around in as you did in the first two games. Like the first two games basically had linear paths and you had no choice but to go on. This one you can actually go all around. There's not a lot of limitations, even though I said invisible walls do happen if you're trying to like climb things. But then again, maybe I'm just not good. Maybe I wasn't good enough to glitch past them like some people can. But that's what I got from there. So basically, you can tell they borrowed a lot of open world from other RPGs, and definitely Skyrim because they're more known for this kind of thing. It's not bad actually. I kind of like the fact that it did that. And there's more, like the maps are more expansive. There are only so many locations you can go to in the first two games, especially in the second one, where you can tell they obviously just reuse like the same map over and over. You're in different locations, but the map was the same. This one is all new shit. They definitely took their time to put this world together and give you a lot of places to go. It's really cool. As you play, you also build influence. You can increase your influence by completing quests for people or by closing rifts, among other things. Speaking of closing rifts, get used to that game mechanic because you're going to be doing it a lot. It's basically one of the main plot points of the game. You can also recruit various characters to the Inquisition to help bolster their power. It's important to build up Inquisition power points, but you need to spend them to take on various quests in the game. Yeah, so basically at your Inquisition points, like, you know, you build influence, you build Inquisition points, and like when you go, it's kind of cool because when you're going to go these missions, you have like this overall world map at a war table thing. That's how you go to quests. And to unlock certain quests, you need a certain amount of Inquisition or power points, and you use those at the war table to go to these locations. So yeah, basically you have to play the game, do all these different side quests and stuff to build up that so you can take on like various quests, and especially for the story quest. To advance the story, you also need like Inquisition power points. So I guess it's better they did that instead of microtransacting it. They shouldn't have said that. They might do that. No, I'm kidding. Crafting is also introduced in the world of Dragon Age. It has some presence in the previous games. They go all out in this one. You can craft armor and weapons as long as you find the right material. In doing so, you can add runes and other things to make your weapons more powerful and your armor more protective. What? No enchantment? But yeah, like I said, in the first two games, you can like add things to weapons and armor, and that was kind of like crafting. Or this time, you actually make armor or build upon armor that you already have. It's really cool. It takes a while to get used to. I was kind of confused about it by first. I'm like scratching my head, going, what the hell? I don't understand this. But I eventually got a hold of it and figured it out, and was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. So eventually, I put it together and it worked just fine. Inquisition is a solid action RPG with lots to do. It seems to borrow heavily from other games, but it seems to work out okay in the end. There's a good amount of content to keep you busy for a while. So yeah, basically Dragon Age Inquisition in a nutshell. Like the story just seemed to borrow heavily from the first one. It's what, as far as story influence goes, like you're building these armies like that. That's basically this from the first one. You go to some locations that you did in the first one, like Red Cliff and some other places. Like you've been there before, but it does look different. One thing that really bothered me about this, and I actually brought this up in a video I made like a while back ranting about this, is in the first two games, like when you play Dragon Age 1, once you did in that one, you could influence in Dragon Age 2. So you can carry over the story decisions from your first game into the second game. Unfortunately, they didn't seem to do that with this one. You know, you can't use your previous game data in the new game, and I think that kind of sucked on EA's part. I mean, that was a really bullshit move if you ask me, because you had to like go to like some website that, I don't know, I guess I couldn't get to work or whatever because I couldn't like prove that I couldn't prove that I had a PS3 to Origin. I thought it was bullshit. I think I figured out how to do it since then, but I don't feel like going through it. It's like basically you have a default world state, which more or less as I played through, I realized that it kind of ended up in the direction that I played in the first place. You know, minor changes here and there. But you don't really need to know the previous, you didn't really need to play the previous two games, and that's kind of what they're going for this, but I think the whole forcing you to have an Origin account and go to Dragon Age Keep to carry over the story that you wanted, that you built in the first two games, it's kind of bullshit on EA's part, and it kind of sucked that they did that. So, to me, I think that kind of loses points to me. I really wanted my decisions to carry over this game just by playing the first two games, instead of having to like go to some fucking website, which like is in beta stages, by the way. I don't know if it still is or not. I like didn't want to go back to the site and deal with it. So it's kind of crap. There is an online mode, which I haven't really done yet, but in all honesty, I never really do a lot of the online mode when I play these games, and I'll factor into my review. Maybe I should, I don't know, but I really don't, and I have, as of yet, not played it online because I have no interest. I liked playing it for the story, like I like playing another RPG, and online just didn't seem to appeal to me. From what I gather, how online works, if you want to know, is you take your character, and I guess you meet up 3 other people online, and you go on like these set quests or whatever. Nothing special. I haven't tried it yet. If you haven't loved it, good for you. I just had no interest in it. But yeah, and you know, pretty neat game. I played it on the PS3 version, so there were obviously some glitches, and there are probably glitches on every other version because, you know, God forbid a game actually gets released these days that doesn't have some like kind of glitches that get patched later. But they weren't anything game-breaking. Just the normal stuff where occasionally like it'd freeze on the loading screen, which is a problem I had in the first 2 Dragon Age games. Like, what the fuck, EA, BioWare, I blame both of you for this. Stop that. Or, you know, there's one time I was playing and I was about to fight some characters and they just, I was going to go fight a group of enemies and they kind of disappeared off the screen. I was like, what is this? Like, all things they probably fixed here and there, and I was already past them, so I didn't notice if they fixed them or not. But yeah, just some problems there, and I thought it was pretty crap that they did that. But they definitely, at the end of the day, still took time on this game and gave a pretty good package, and it didn't feel as rushed as Dragon Age 2 did, which is a very big complaint. Because, let's see, it was like, what, a year and a half, 2 years from 1 to 2? And it's been quite a while since between 2 and 3, so it worked out pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and give this game a B+. Pretty decent game. Wasn't bad, definitely kept me interested, kept me playing, so it had its moments, you know, with the small frustrations, which I went ahead and complained about, you know. But other than that, you know, I think if you like action RPGs, you're definitely going to like Dragon Age. But yeah, whatever. I mean, basically, if you're smart enough, you'll probably wait for the Game of the Year edition, or Game of the Year Complete Edition, however they want to call it, which I was actually planning to do, but I already explained how I ended up with a copy of the game anyway, in my initial rant video about it. So this has been another episode of the fucking awesome Game Review Show, and I will see you guys next time.